I swear I don't have COVID. I've done a natural flow, so all good. Right, today's topic is going to be on one of the modules in the Theatre and Performance Studies. It's PA. Sorry, Performance Analysis is what it's actually called in the degree. Now, sadly, for any students taking English and theatre or any other subject taken with it, if this module isn't available for you, sorry. Now, this is a great module. And in brief description of what it is, it really says what it is on the tin. Analysing performances. Wow, they really thought that name. Now, I know there is a lot in this module to discuss, and I think that if I really wanted to, I could speak about this module for a very long time. Maybe not too long. It's not that huge. I've got to get a degree first. So, a little heads up on the context for this video. Here are the sections that I'm going to speak about, so you can skip to whatever section of the video you'd like to go to. First section is a brief introduction of what the outcomes for the module are. The second section is about my first initial thoughts of the module. Third section is about the assessments that I had to do and how I overcame them. PSA, it includes crying. Fourth and final section is about any tips that I would give to any students taking this module. So let's get started on the module criteria. Now, I'm going to admit I am reading this from a Moodle page, which hopefully you will get when you start this course. However, I will be adding a little bit more description as best I can. I'm going to call this section Performance Analysis Outcome. Now, the outcomes for performance analysis. No. Actually, principal learning outcomes for performance analysis. That's too long. We'll go with it. Right. So the first one is analyze various kinds of performance and introduce terminology suitable to the analysis of theatre and performance. So I think this outcome will help you acquire better terminology to use when analysing performances of any sorts. So if you struggle with words, this outcome will be beneficial for you. 2, better understand, appreciate and discern the different elements of theatre production. Writing, directing, acting, design, the role of the audience. So I know from my year, I can definitely recall this outcome because there were many performances at first that wouldn't be that appealing to me. And after understanding the smaller details of the performance, I started to appreciate it more. 3, produce critical response to live performance via various forms of writing, as well as visual and digital forms of communication, and have improved skills in written critical expression. Now, I know for us, one of the first short assignments that we had to do was to produce a review of performance that we'd recently seen. And straight away, this got me to thinking anything critically, playing the devil's advocate, as some would say. I also know that I've used this thinking even in my last assignment, but more on that later. Number 4, distinguish between various forms of performance criticism and critical theory. Examine how they are shaped by social, political, and historical contexts. Now, this one is more complicated to find how I've developed it throughout the year. However, that does not mean I've developed the skill, because I know that I've looked at critically analysing one of the Eurovision performances within its political context. 5, analyse the role and theory and criticism in the processes of theatrical production and reception. Okay, I'm not going to lie, this one is very confusing, but I think it just sums up the other points, but within the production and performance, as well as the performance itself, so, how the performance is made. Have a more nuanced understanding of continuous concepts such as taste, quality, and beautiful. Okay, they really ran out of ideas for that one. They just thought, we need to stick another one in. Now, what my initial thoughts were, well, I remember the first couple of weeks we were asked to look into reviews, and initially I thought that this was going to be it. However, that was not the case. We delved deeper into analysing performances as the term went on, delving into different theories such as historiography, queer feminist performance analysis, intercultural theories, performance and cultural materialism, and much more. There was so much content, to be fair. Now, I won't lie, around the second term, it did get a little boring. However, that was more because the stuff that we were discussing was not my forte. However, I did find it still interesting and engaging. And to be fair, I have learned a lot from each of the weeks and used some of the skills and knowledge in some of my final essays and across the modules as well. Now, there will be some weeks where it might take you a while to get into the content, but more on that later. Because now I'm going to talk more about the assignments I had to do. Well, when I tell you that my first assignment I enjoyed, I am not kidding. Well, I never thought I'd say that. Basically, for our first assignment, and this may be subject to change, we had to produce a group review for performance. This was allowed to be done in any format. And I'm not going to lie, I did actually enjoy working on this because it was one of the first group projects I worked on, and the people I worked with, I'm still friends with now. The type of assignments we had to do varied for us. We had to do a group review, a portfolio, and an essay linked to that portfolio. Now, this allowed for us to try out different types of assignments. With the most recent of the assignments, aka the essay, I was very proud of it, and in the end did really well. This was primarily due to me asking the teacher for help and us going through the themes and discussing ways we can look at it. Talking about getting advice, there is a couple of advice I would give to anyone taking this module. It may seem tough at first, and trust me, there might be a couple of times where you really don't want to partake. However, take at least a couple of notes. This is so later on, if you want to come back to it, either sudden liking or helping an assignment, then you will have the notes to help you through it. Unfortunately, my experience of lectures in this module is probably going to be different to anyone in the future, as my one was live and online due to the pandemic. And all I can say is that there is a lot of information and context for this module to pick up on. So if you're going to struggle, then I highly recommend speaking to your tutors or your mentors to see how you can best go through it. Some say this is one of the hardest modules. However, at the end, it is very beneficial and you feel very academically rich afterwards. This is when we talk about a university experience on the academic side. To me, this is what it felt like. Sorry, I just have some trains running through. But that brings us to the end, and that's it from me. Thank you for watching and listening to me rant about performance analysis, or PA to you probably.